Alright friends, while Bannerlord is back and better than ever, it's also harder to navigate the early stages of a campaign. The map is just crawling with hostiles, enemy archers are even more deadly than before, and many changes also make it more challenging to make money.
Stop that. Who are you?
In this short series, I'll show you how an experienced Bannerlord player navigates the early game, collects a bunch of dinars, and help you dominate. Alright friends, welcome back again to another episode of Tactical Enlightenment. Our YouTube channel is dedicated to all things Bannerlord related, and we carry on with this very short mini-series here covering the early Mercenary stage. This guy, Rage, R-A-A-J, it's not Raj, it's Rage. This is some after narration, or more appropriately, some intro narration, as we pick up in the middle of an episode, or so to speak. I broke up these episodes and don't want you to be jarred too badly in between them. So we will now join live narration of this early gameplay from the beta 1.3 version of Bannerlord. We want to minimize losses here, and we're still trying to get a bunch of upgrades, especially to our ranged units, right? Our ranged units, we want a bunch of master archers. We'll see how far our southern invasion goes here. The Southern Empire is starting to form armies and head this direction, so evidently, you know, there's some momentum this direction. It's kind of cool. It almost feels like Rage here is the reconnaissance advanced force here, right? We have this small army. It's a small but strong army, and of course that's part of the purpose of these episodes, is to continue to show you guys how to navigate this it's very subtle gameplay, right? We have 60 units one battle, 120 the next, and it's all about efficiency. So we're trying to use the ridge here. This is probably unnecessary, but it's like 100 villagers, right? So we're trying to you know, have 3, 4, 5 losses instead of 25 losses, which is probably what would happen if you just F1, F3 here. A perfect example of how we're going to get our rage out on villagers. Drilled that guy right in the head. Nice shot there. We'll get our rage out on villagers instead of these poor people in the world that we're going to experience. Vehicle rage is a very common thing. There's something about maybe the threat of being hit by a vehicle. People also tend to act, at least in America, they tend to act differently when they're in a car than they would in a grocery store. People will cut you off. The same people who would never dare cut you in line like at the grocery store, because you're right there, you can confront them. Meanwhile, people in their car, right, they'll just cut you off and you can't do a damn thing about it. And of course, some people think about that and they're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do something about it, right? And the next thing you know, they're in prison for 7 years because they had basically, you know, they lost control of their civilized brain. That's really what it comes down to, right? Anger is a primitive emotion. That's how you get infanticide and all the worst human emotions, but those are also necessary. I like to remind people that we live today amongst the most violent humans in history. And this guy, these are deserters, and they just barreled right towards us. So speaking of violent people here, let's throttle some deserters. I think these kind of fights I can just continue with this little side narration. When there's significant instances, we will try to, you know, add some color to what we're doing here. But at this stage, most of the tactics you guys know now, right? We've got 2 archer divisions, 2 infantry divisions, and we're mixing in either a specialist skirmisher division, or sometimes we have a horse archer division. We'll see how this army fleshes out, right? Being in the Aserai territory, it's definitely going to get a distinct Aserai flavor. Do a little bit of kiting over this ridge. I love to take an elevated ridge like this, do a bunch of damage at range, and then pull over the ridge, right? We've got a nice little reverse slope decline here to use. But anger, you know, it's that primitive emotion, and it's like a lot of our emotions, right? They say never make decisions when you're emotional, and that's the bottom line. Is you're much more like an animal, much less civilized when you're angry, when you're depressed, whatever it might be, right? That's why people make the worst decisions when they're emotional, because frankly they're not using their intellect, right? They're using the part of our brain that's designed to prevent us from being killed by other violent mammals. And you say, why do I think people are the most violent right now? Well, my theory is pretty simple, and it's probably espoused in other literature and whatnot. I never read it, but it's just a basic principle. all the passive all the passive humanoids, the clans and whatnot, maybe they were Polynesians or wherever they lived, right? Native Americans, the ones that were less violent, well, they got killed by the more violent ones, right? And so we've had thousands of years of basically human civilization, human cultures, and the only ones that are left, the ones that survived all that, are obviously not the pacifists. They all got wiped out. And so you have violent Englishmen. You could certainly say Englishmen have been violent for a couple 500 years, right? They start drinking alcohol and they get angry, start taking over whole continents and shit like that. But my theory, I think it's a pretty simple, logical one. Right? The people, obviously, who have survived to this stage of human civilization have done so through war. It's not like we had, a whole bunch of peace treaties and shit like that for 900 years. It was basically kill or be killed. And might makes right until, about the last maybe 80 or 100 years. I guess unless you live in Ukraine, right? They're still feeling it to this day. So, anger, rage, it's a thing. So I've gotten, zenful about it. I keep talking about Zen. Zen, I don't actually know which, I don't actually know which spiritual line does Zen. Maybe it's Eastern, probably Buddhism or something like that. I do not know a great amount about Eastern religions, Eastern Confucius and stuff like that. I am definitively a westernized, ignorant American. But I like the basic concept of Zen is like, no matter what happens, you're just chill about it. You're the coolest guy in the room. And I'm trying to be that guy. The more I age and the more I reflect upon the mistakes I've made or the things that I've done in the past where I look back on and be like, damn, what a stupid asshole thing that was. Look how dumb this guy looks. First, he looks like he's 12. Then we just gave him the worst helmet conceivable. Oh, well, protect his head a little bit here. I guess we got to protect the 12-year-old's head, right? There could be, child protective services roll up and say, what the hell are you doing to this kid? You've got him on a horse throwing javelins and he doesn't even have a helmet, right? And we're like, look at my head of hair. I don't need a helmet. I got a big afro, right? Rage has the best fro in all of the Aserai lands here. He's got some beautiful green eyes, if you can have that kind of a striking combination. Now I'm veering more and more towards leadership because his combat skills are kind of getting maxed out. I'll continue to talk a little bit here and there about the companions, but we've done quite a bit of focus on that. And I'm running simultaneously these companion episodes, probably appearing the same week on the channel, so I'm not sure we're going to spend a huge amount of time on it. What we are going to do is we are going to get a huge amount of villagers. Every single village, more and more, I'm just becoming a maniacal fan of being wildly over full for troops, right? We're at 184 over 163, but I keep mentioning it, and almost every single test seems to reflect the same thing. Your deserters come from your worst troops. Now, we got to be a little bit careful here. We don't need to get caught by 300. I'll fight 160, though. Let's see, 70. Oh, shit. Yeah, see, we got to be careful here. We're suffering deserters again, but those are recruits. The rest of our troops are healing. I think we'll just run north here. I got to do a little bit of healing. That was quite a lot of action. Kind of in a row. All right, but so how do you be Zen, right? You're on the highway, some assholes in front of the light goes red and they don't go for 10 seconds, right? When I was younger, I would honk. Now I wouldn't lay on it, but I would fucking honk and be like, go. The light is green, right? When the light would go green, they would just sit there. It drove me crazy. My perspective on that has changed significantly. Just like the people who drive really slow on the highway or maybe on a road in front of you, or maybe they speed and they're all over your ass. I used to be like, get off my ass. Right? I was one of those guys who was like just agitated about shit, right? I was ripping high testosterone. And look at this bad AI. These guys just trapped themselves. Not only that, they're going to be weakened by attacking these deserters. These are the kind of things that Tail Worlds definitely needs to, just tinker with just a little bit. It's too bad I can't join the deserters and be like, we would like to be your friends. We attack. That would be a cool feature. So one of the ways I get around it is, oh shit, okay, well they want to fight, good. We want to fight too. Everybody wants to fight. We must be descendants of the most violent animals of all time. When you see people driving on the road, driving slow, look, the reality is that most of us, you're playing a video game, I'm playing a video game, most of us have gifts. And I don't mean you've got a bunch of shit under the Christmas tree. What I mean is we have genetic gifts that our parents bequeathed us, the grandparents and whatnot. we've got at least average eyesight, most of us, or you got some glasses. Most of us have decent reflexes, hand-eye coordination, spatial awareness, a host of other things, right? A nice big vocabulary that some people don't have. And it's very easy to get inside our own brains and say, this is how I see the world. Other people should see it like me. It's human nature, right? We sort of expect people to the sky is blue to them, right? However, the traffic speed might intimidate the shit out of somebody where you think it's slow, right? You might run into someone who's got a disability, right? And in many cases, you can have a minor disability and still be perfectly legally allowed to drive, especially in the United States where with all the ghastly suburbs, I mean, with all the beautiful suburbs, it's hundreds of miles, between towns just packed with suburbs. You have to drive, more or less. We're just going to snipe all these dipshit horse archers, just riding back casually. So that's one of the ways I get around it. Even when people drive fast, my new thing I tell myself when I'm on the highway, because I've thought of the scenario. I'm on the highway and someone's just ripping. I get out of their way. You know why? I'm not a sheriff, first of all, right? I'm a firefighter. We talk about it all the time. It's not my job. If they're going 10 or 15 over, I just move. You know why? They might have their pregnant wife in the car. They might have a kid who just cut their wrist open and has arterial bleeding, and they didn't want to call an ambulance because they thought they could get to the hospital faster. I guess the point I'm making is that sometimes, not all the time, of course, but I just assume that people are doing that shit. They've got a real good reason to do it, right? Maybe they got to get home because they left a pot on the stove, and it's gonna all of a sudden it's gonna create a fire, right? Need my guys to get a house fire just because I'm slowing the guy down and his house burns down, right? So I know it's a bit of a stretch. We know the bottom line is a lot of people drive fast because they're an asshole, right? They're an inconsiderate fuck. But I don't want to go around the world thinking like that about most people, right? Just pretending or assuming that people are assholes here. And we've got a beautiful kill box set up here. Look at the arrow fire they're coming into. Back these guys up here. We're wrecking shop with javelins as I give my little philosophical debate here. Again, we'll try to limit this, for the guys that are aggravated by it. And we'll also in the future, I guess I probably should have here, we'll do little disclaimers. It'll be like the next 10 minutes I'm going to espouse some of my mediocre midlife philosophical beliefs. And, you guys can tune out or skip ahead or something like that if you want to. I got a full health bar, you little Mamluk soldier mofos and recruits up in my grill. Get the hell, I'm going to exert some anger on these pixels. Have some of that, you son of a bitch. Right? And then the next time I'm on the road and someone drives slow, I'm going to be like, it's cool, man. Well, what's not cool is this guy's endurance. Man, we got to get him some athleticism. We've been on a horse this whole campaign, and it showed right there. I turned my back on those guys, and I didn't clear any of them. They all got their licks. They all got hits on me because we can't move. Right? This guy's basically someone who never does leg day. He just rides his horse. So we're in a little bit of trouble here. Their archers are sort of strafing us. They got a bit of an angle on us. I think we'll do a reverse slope decline. And I'll finish this before the guys get too belligerent. We got to pull this infantry back here. These guys are getting smoked. No, get back here. They're taking forever. Damn it. God, I guess we could lose this battle if we're not careful. We do have some good cavalry here. We got some Vanguard Ferris building up. We're going to be able to build up an army full of Aserai units, right? We do have, there's a Fiend Champ standing over there. We've got some Sergeant Crossbow, some Legionnaire looking the wrong way, you dipshits. We got prisoners and stuff like that too. So we got a camel guy, right? We're starting to acquire a nice little eclectic army. And these archers are scorching us. They're basically winning the ranged game. They have a lot more archers than we do. And this is a close fight. Let's see here. I think sometimes you just rush it, right? Now you want to rush it intelligently, right? We've got these infantry divisions. We'll push them forward first. These guys can't get line of sight for some reason, so hold everything here. We're going to fucking lose this battle. It'd be just like that live stream where I was talking too much, thinking shit would be easy, and we got fucking mangled at the bridge. If you didn't catch it or didn't know about it, we did a couple hours of live stream, had all kinds of technical difficulties, and then we got owned like a bitch for the final battle. It's always fun to put yourself out there with, there was like 100 people watching or something and just look like an absolute buffoon. Right? You got to be zen about that shit too. It was like first we had a crash, then it took 12 minutes to load the game. Get up here, infantry. It'll be ironic if I give my little speech about, controlling my anger, and then I rage quit because we get defeated here by a force I thought we had in the bag. Kill these boys. All right, at least our infantry closed. God, they have a lot of good archers here, though, too. Die, too. They're not dying. Every guy takes a lot of damage and doesn't die. I wonder if these lords have medicine skills or something. They must have some perks, because these guys are taking 80 and 100. There we go. We finally chopped the dude down. Thank God for the RTS mod. We might lose this battle without the RTS mod. So that's how I get around it. You know, the easy way to do it, for me, philosophically, is to remember how lucky we are. The bottom line is if you have good eyesight, if you've got good hand-eye coordination, if you've got a good head on your shoulders, right? If you're pretty intelligent, maybe you went to college, maybe you're in college, you're way ahead of a lot of people, right? That are going to be working some dead-end blue-collar job the rest of their life, right? So a lot of us have gifts. I'm not saying that everybody here has gifts, right? I'm not making that assumption. I'm just saying if that helps you in life to remember that somebody today was born with a disability that's going to impact their life, their whole life, and I'm not saying it's, let's make fun of them. What I'm saying is appreciate what we do have, right? Even though someone's driving like an asshole. I never saw a whole bunch of orange, right? Usually when you see a whole bunch of orange, that means a bunch of allies were captured, but I didn't see the orange, so I think their army probably just broke up, right? They lost cohesion, and Bannerlord 1.3 does a much better job of the AI manages their armies better. They don't have great AI once they have an army, but they probably just broke up because they lost cohesion, and hopefully they're rebuilding because obviously that Aserai force sieging Hubyar almost as soon as we took it. Now, I think we're going to siege here, right? You guys want some interesting action, and guys want to know what the heck do you do in the mercenary stage before you're a vassal. This is unorthodox, right? This takes some chutzpah here, takes some balls, but we're going to do this shit. It's going to take us forever to build a siege camp because we've got a bunch of mercenaries. They don't like building siege camps, right? These guys get paid to kill. The last thing they want to do is swing a mallet at sharp sticks all day into the ground and build themselves defensive fortifications and stuff like that. But we're going to do it anyways. If we get attacked, it'll probably be by a manageable force. And if we see a huge army loom up here, we'll simply run. But this is a very happy development in this campaign, right? To be able to have some really unique gameplay. We're technically this guy's Aserai culture. We're with the Southern Empire down here, basically tearing a new one to the Aserai forces down here. We've still got a bunch of their nobles in our prison line here, and now we're actively sieging. I mean, we've been stomping their armies, and it's beautiful to see Southern Empire forces down here because hopefully we can get some really interesting battles. Jamea Castle. My brain is going through my Rolodex. You guys are like, what the fuck is a Rolodex? My brain is going through my catalog of different castle layouts. And if we were a vassal, I would say we want this castle. This is one of the best castles for defense. I think this was one of the castles we covered actually in our castle series where we listed, one great castle for every kingdom. I think this was it. It's got an amazing layout, incredible line of sight, and we've got battle here. These guys are coming in hot, 240. Okay, it is a large force. I guess it's about twice our size. But if we win, upgrades, right? And we can continue to recruit these villagers all along the way. It's one of the huge advantages of being in hostile territory like this. There's just tons of troops, right? Because you're ordering all the farmers to get their pitchfork out. Oh shit! The garrison sallied out. All right. Well, we've got our hands full here. This is going to be gnarly. But that's what you guys are here for, right? You guys want gnarly. This must count, right? We're outnumbered 3-1. Let's do this shit. Feeling pretty good about our army, though. We got a beautiful mix of troops. We've got some Aserai master archers. We've got some good terrain too. Look at their formation. Man, that's weird looking. This is good terrain for an army like ours, right? We could kite back to here if we want. We could definitely use this sort of enclosed valley. We could use that upper wing there to the left. This battle map is definitely a tactician's wet dream. I've got just tons of options, different things I could do. We could make an episode. How many different ways could we kill an enemy on this battle scene, this battlefield here, which may be, right? Because we don't have enough series going at the same time, right? With the Disaster of Wars and the Valandian campaign, the Britannian campaign, the Companion we've got all these different campaigns going. Guys are like, how do you keep track? Right? And it's not easy, but you guys have seen I multitask well. If you can command 8 units on the battlefield and give narration, surely you can remember what episodes you're making and when and stuff like that, right? All right, so we've got a 6th, 1st, 2nd. It's a pretty traditional kill box type of army, right? We have a 47, 104. There's archers mixed somewhere. Something is foobar. Look at the math. It says I have 47 out of 104 in the 4th division. One of these divisions must be mixed archers, and here they are. We found the culprit. This happens sometimes. That guy that's in there has a little bit of archery skill. So what happens is the system is trying to do you a favor. It's like, hey, I think he's crossbow, right? That's our surgeon. The AI is like, here, have some crossbow. At least you'll benefit some. And in actuality, it fucks us over here because we have a plan. We don't need your help, AI. You're fucking us. I have 2 beautiful archer divisions, a skirmisher division, a shock troop, a shield infantry division, a couple cav divisions, a few horse archers, and then some peasants in the 8th Corps. I think we can make this work. This is going to be challenging, but we're here for a challenge, right? You guys want some challenge. Oh, it's like shock troops in our 8th division. Even our low-level peasants are upgrading. There's got to be some peasants in here somewhere. I know I'm spending a lot of time here. Obviously, these are the kind of battles, if you make one mistake, you lose, right? It's very easy to get trucked and ran over here. We're kind of pressed towards the back, but I plan on using some of that terrain. All these hills and ridges, on one hand, it makes it difficult for line of sight. It's even harder as a commander to sort of understand line of sight here. But I was good at billiards. I understand angles very well. And one of the things you can really do here beautifully is limit the enemy's line of sight, right? You can nullify most of their archers, horse archers, maybe even their skirmishers by using these ridges, right? And we're going to definitely start doing assassinations with this guy. He's got lethal javelin skills. Is just blowing people up. He's one-shotting everything. As long as our skill doesn't erode so bad, right? Sometimes we have, some skill sort of falls by the wayside. It's just difficult throwing javelins at a high rate of speed, as we're demonstrating here. Can't hit anything. But once you get yourself kind of dialed in, man, you're talking 10, 12 kills before the battle starts. And in a battle like this, that's important, right? You want to kill lords and stuff like that. Look at this guy. Get off me. All right. Cav division. They're coming in kind of hodgepodge. When the enemy comes in hodgepodge, I can't hit anything. Man, this is bizarre. When they come in hodgepodge, you're better off basically just holding your position. It's the infantry vanguard that we're worried about, right? Man, I really can't hit anything all of a sudden. That better improve here. We're in trouble. Now we've got a little tiny square that we're going to drag around. Those guys are throwing some javelins. I love it. Our 18 guys in the square. We've got a great little pocket here to make a kill box for their infantry vanguard. If they charge this side, we'll move these 2 divisions in the opposite direction. They'll be vulnerable to archers, and our forces will be supremely spread out, divided. But that's all right. Caesar, with his whole divide and conquer thing, he doesn't understand our tactics, right? Caesar would be like, oh yeah, divide your own army and conquer, right? Like you're supposed to divide the enemy, not yourself. But it works supremely well in Bannerlord. Let's back these guys up. Nope, don't attack. Follow me. Back up. Get these guys out of there. That's 6th division, 5th division. Those guys are a little bit in trouble. It's a huge vanguard. Get going. I'm running into walls and shit. We've got great archer fire, though, that our troops are retreating into. I love pulling infantry into archer fire, right? The enemy's pursuing them, getting smoked. Now we can get the 5th and 6th Corps behind them here. We got to get some cavalry out in front. They've got a fuckload of archers. Beautiful. The enemy just turned. That's perfect. Had they kept pursuing, it would have been interesting. We would have had to snarl our whole formation up into the hills here. We are really bathing their infantry, though, in blood and fucking projectiles. Guys are gaining levels. Here's our companions, right? Again, maybe we'll include this in one of the companion episodes, right? Terraloon the Swift is a beast. And this campaign is like 7-8 hours old. And she's got to be, I don't know. I don't want to speculate because I haven't looked in a little while, but she's ripping the levels. We gave her 2 quivers, and she just kills everything. And she's right in there, right? She's just smoking guys. Little layer of protection. Put a couple cavalry out in front. We've got this other square over here absorbing arrows. Guys want to use their infantry offensively. Yeah, there's a time for it. now is not the time, right? We've got to kill this. Well, it's almost dead. Now it's almost the time. We can start closing the vice here. But that was 300 infantry. It was. Now we can drive this 8th, 1st, 6th all at the same time. You see that square just moving in? Now we can kill the remnant of these guys. They're basically shot to death, right? We still have a lot of archers to kill too, so when you charge, a lot of your units will be exposed. You'll have your palace guards and stuff like that just shot in the face, and this is an amazing amount of archers. And they're doing the worst thing they could possibly do. I don't know what they're doing, if I'm honest. I think they're trying to get better line of sight to our archers. Well, we've got infantry just waiting for them. That was a bit of a gift. I'm looking up at the power bar. It wouldn't have mattered. We've got a great flank. We've got lots of infantry. All their infantry's gone. And now they realize their mistake to AI. You can almost picture the AI's like, oh shit, charge. Oh shit, we can't see anything. Bring our archers forward. Maybe then they can see, oh shit, we're getting charged. Let's just rout. We're suffering some losses. It's a lot of archers to deal with. But this is a tasty battle. We're going to get upgrades. Oh shit. We continue to get smoked. 33, 26. We got Mizam the Hawk doing his thing. 13 kills this guy. 14 kill. This horse archer guy is just ripping it. Him and Taraloon the Swift. I love it. Right? Our ranged units are just power leveling. And victory's victory, right? Our main character will be healthy. And I think this means the garrison sallied out. So sometimes you get the castle, right? We don't even have to do the siege. We still have 100 healthy troops, right? Our army shredded it here. Nobody died. 130, 123 influence. Just piles of money raining in. I think we get 300 per influence. So that was 30,000, 40,000 just in influence. We'll take some looters. Recruiting looters. That's how desperate we are here. You know, you can throw them at the enemy. At least it'll distract. Upgrades like crazy. If we still have to siege, we're going to have to build some shit because we're pretty banged up. A nice little masterwork executioner's act. We don't have any shock troops, right? I'm not developing infantry. Not yet. And we get it. I mean, we don't get it, but we took it. And I don't think any of our troops will end up in the garrison. Yeah, we can put the looters in and shit like that. I guess we'll get a little bit of influence. But when you're a vassal and you have companions, they'll just dump troops in there. You don't get them back. It's like a one-way door. They're just gone forever. It's a real fucking pain in the ass. Yeah, see, you already gave the castle to somebody else. Obviously, as a mercenary, you don't even count, right? They don't even... You're not part of the vote. That shit's unilateral. They don't give a fuck. What is this guy doing? Oh, shit. We got chaos and carnage down here. All right, all right. This is exactly what I was talking about. How beautiful, right? It's basically a Southern Empire invasion. And we were at the tip of the spear. We were smashing armies all the way through here. And then the Southern Empire came down. It was almost like we'll just say that. We'll just role play in this meaningless campaign. We sent, you know, Oros and Satros and all these Oses. We sent them some scouting and said, the Aserai are weak. We've already got half their nobles in our prison line. Come down here and feast. And we want to fight, right? This would be a tasty battle. They've got a lot of forces. Attack! Oh shit, this guy got caught up. He's destroyed. What are you doing? What a coward this guy is. Oros the coward. Look how many Southern Empire forces there are here. You bitches gonna fight? Man, I feel like William Wallace at that first battle in Braveheart. Like, I'm gonna go pick a fight here. I'm gonna tell them they gotta kiss their own arse. Cross the battlefield and... This is depressing. This would be a great battle, and instead our forces... I'm trying to bait these pacifists into a fight here, and I don't know what's going on here. How many forces do you need? And I think it's more sort of not terrific AI. That Southern Empire force should be like colluding with us to try to destroy them. You know, though, we'll do this. We'll take this. This is a nice consolation prize. I mentioned this before, and it's a little bit of a cheat code. This is probably going to be boring to some guys. Maybe we'll just keep on narrating. I'll keep talking about my thoughts here. This is an automatic... This is a high percentage win. We better start saying that shit because I was pretty sure I said this is an automatic win when we got captured on our stream. There's a high probability of a victory here. We have almost... Yeah, we have more than half the defenders as attackers. This is an elite castle. And it's a perfect opportunity actually to level a bunch of different things here for Rage. And his companions, right? We can boost up his companion skills. We can get all kinds of kills. This is basically a tasty morsel in the mercenary stage, because we're going to get a huge amount of the credit for this victory, right? For this probable victory. We'll see. Maybe another huge force of the Aserai will join, and it'll be 3,700. We might actually be able to beat 3,700 with some militia help. This is such a good castle for defense, and hopefully we can illustrate that here. Yeah, see, 215 athleticism. It's getting there. 264 throwing. These perks are going to really start to rip. Now, I'm tempted to take on even more javelins, but this guy has been really vulnerable. I might take a javelin in the face or something like that. So I think there's a good argument to be made. Just keep your giant Pavis shield. It's nice to have that blocking radius. A little caffeine here, and let's rough up some Aserai dogs. Of course, they dump you right in. No ceremony at all. Even though evidently we've been in the town for a week. It's like the proverbial, they give you an onion. They wake you up. Someone drugs you. They give you some roofies. They drug you. They make you eat an onion. They're like, hey, by the way, there's a battle in 5 minutes. Good luck. I know you're naked. Throw your armor on. Good luck. So this is my new strategy as a mercenary for siege. I make a square for the gate because you can't count on the militia. Then I make a division that'll follow me a lot of the battles. Second division or the fourth division are single digits of infantry. Of course, archers all along these back walls. That's why this castle is so deadly. And there's layers on top of that, right? We can get the 8th Corps up on top of that ramparts over there. We're going to be able to man some siege here. Our engineering skill is going to get a boost. This is tasty shit here. There's a rock pile here. It's kind of orgasmic from a power level your character kind of thing. Like, you get it all right here. This is like winning the lottery the same day you have a menage a trois. Like, things are good. All right. I wish there were fire catapults, right? We'd be able to throw them and do major damage. They have significantly nerfed this part, right? I don't know if you guys have noticed that. I don't know how many people have talked about it. You would kill scores of troops before with the standard, what is this called? A mangonel, right? The non-fire version of it. These guys they're following me like a lost puppy. Get down there. I don't want these guys clogging things up. And those non-fire catapults, now you're lucky to kill a couple guys. They just don't do much damage. I think this is also just stones, right? I don't know what the non-fire catapults. Looks like it. Yeah, see, there's no flames. They're also ugly. They used to have flames, if my memory serves me right, even during the day. There was kind of like trailing flames, like you lit a bunch of Greek fire, even though they're just standard catapults. I mean, you do some blunt damage, right? We could pound that siege tower, but we don't need to here, right? I just want to kill. I got 5 points of engineering for one of those kills, right? We're gonna power level some shit in this battle. Full health bar. I'm feeling good. There's a huge clump of the enemy. You can't miss, right? I look the other way. Look, Mom, it's a no-look shot, right? You just rack up engineering left and right. The archers are they're taking a siesta. It's very hot down here. These guys are all laying down on the job. It's really too bad that not more of the archers, hides or whatever from the arrows. They really are just complete fodder. They need to juke and jive. We've talked about it a little bit. In fact, like an hour ago, we had archers on the walls, enemy archers, that sure seemed like they were dodging, right? They would shoot and shuffle their feet. It'd be, I think, relatively easy to code that part, right? You just have the AI move more, right? Instead of getting smoked like that. Instead, they seem to be very static, right? You can literally hit a guy with an arrow, and so you clearly zoned in on the guy, and he will keep trying to shoot you, and then you shoot him right in the face. It's not immersion breaking, but it's it decreases your faith in humankind, right? That there's these stupid ass enemies that just it doesn't feel super realistic. I think even, a buffoon gets shot in the chest with an arrow. He doesn't keep trying to shoot and stand there. This guy, these are my rocks. Right, we're not about we're not about to let some scuzz infantryman steal all our glory here, right? We're throwing all these. This is beautiful too. There's militia pushing in on them. And we don't care at all about the militia getting hit. Incidentally, I had a guy reach out to me on the Discord, and he's got a really interesting mod that I'm going to introduce. This is the first time I think I've talked about it for an episode. You might even be seeing this after I debut it. It's a friendly fire mod, but it's the style of friendly fire mod that I wanted to see. In fact, I think he said he just basically ran with an idea I had. I remember mentioning it in the battle. You drill the enemy troops. You can literally smoke 20 troops intentionally, no penalty whatsoever. You don't get relation. You don't get negative anything. Nobody minds. Nobody says shit, and that's what his mod does. I just saw it. I haven't played much of it. Just very edges of it. Just sort of seeing if it's stable. And basically, what happens is if you commit a number of friendly fire in a battle, right? You smoke guys on your sides with the Javelin, if you're a mercenary especially, and the Emperor, in this case it would be Regea, will summon you. She's like, come in, we need to talk. And she basically gives you choices, like you got to give us a bunch of money as a weregild, right? Which is back basically if you killed like somebody incorrectly in battle, you had to pay their family money. It's kind of like today we have lawsuits and shit. You run over someone, maybe you got to pay their family a civil. Anyways, so it's really interesting because it adds a consequence to it that I think is realistic, right? I don't think anybody would just tolerate you plowing through troops. And if I remember right, there's like 3, 4, 5 different things that can happen when you get friendly fire, perhaps depending on the magnitude of it, right? If you kill 9 guys in a battle, they should eject you from the kingdom, right? Garios, or in his case, he was showing Garios, Regea. They should come up to you and be like, you're fucking out of here. Not only that, we're not paying you, right? The money we owed you as a mercenary, eat shit, right? In fact, you're lucky we don't imprison your ass. And I'm eager to test it out. I'm not one of those guys who's going to run with every single mod that people suggest to me. The reason is simple. You get absolutely drowned in mods. And then there's conflicts. Also, it alters the gameplay so significantly. I'm very hesitant. Oh, shit. Okay, we've got to get guys over here quickly. They are making a little bit of a breach here, even though we got this one tough Manavlion just fucking everybody up. I'm not eager to add the mods that make Bannerlord like a hugely different game, because a lot of the audience, a lot of you fellas, either it's console or you don't want to play a wholly different game, right? You're here to watch Bannerlord. You're not here to watch something that's wildly different. And I think that's the kind of mod that I like, because it adds a layer of realism and interest that I think most people would agree with. Oh shit, we just got a huge amount of militia just poured in to help. We can get our guys pulled back then. I mean, it's just farming city. I'm barely paying attention to the siege because I'm just so confident of our position. But I think this is a great mod, and I wish this mod was added by Tailworlds, right? Like this guy, he had a inkling to make this mod. It's going to clearly, or at least hopefully, add some realism, add some consequences, and I think that's a good word of what a lot of us would like to see in Bannerlord for more parts of Bannerlord, right? It has all this intricate shit. It's got relations and traits and all this shit, and most of it is just absolutely paper thin. It doesn't mean anything. You can be completely desperate, killing people with friendly fire, and nobody says shit, right? And so in this instance, I don't care. I'm just going to fire javelins and hope I get it right over their shoulder. Now, of course, I couldn't throw a javelin earlier. I hit like 9 in a row there, right over the shoulder of our troops. It's funny how it just kind of comes and goes. But I think it's a really interesting mod, and for the really advanced overhaul mods, guys are like, hey, we want to see you do the 1700s mod and stuff like that. There may be a time for that, but I am going to generally not veer in that direction. I could get lost in mods like that. Guys are like, hey, you love the Napoleonic era, you should do it's basically a mod with muskets and shit like that drops you into 17th, 18th century Europe. I think that's great, but I don't know. I guess I should do some episodes, right? Or I guess I should ask in the comments, is that something, broadly speaking, you guys want to see. Right? You guys want to see tons of overhaul mods on the channel. Right? We already have a lot of content, and I'm trying to keep it somewhat pure. It's part of the reason I don't do RBM. Not only do I get frustrated with some of the elements of RBM, the extreme slow, it's realistic, sure, but it's very slow battles. We drilled the flag bearer. All of a sudden, I've just got the magic eye with these javelins, right? Look out, because I'm smoking everything, right? I'm just going to close my eyes and kill people as we run around with our battle axe here. Might as well, right? Farm our two-handed weapon. But I try to keep, the channel 80% sort of 90% pure. I understand we've got the Valandian campaign with mods. We did the Peasants Revolt with the My Little Warband mod. I'm not saying I won't do these mods. I'm just saying for the mod makers especially, if it seems like I'm sort of cold and reserved towards your mod, it's not that I don't think that your mods are worthy. It's that there are a lot of other guys that make content with mods, and I'm not sure that's going to be my forte on the channel. Of course, I'm still kind of trying to figure out what is. And I do listen to you fellas, right? So like if everybody wanted to see a Realm of Thrones overhaul campaign or tactics or something like that, I would probably do it. But I'm going to try to do content that most people I feel like can replicate, right? Part of the channel's purpose is to help people. Well, if I'm playing a whole bunch of mods that nobody can use, I don't know how useful that is. And just as I predicted, right, I'm always right with my prediction, a smashing here and an incredibly lucrative battle. We had 1 death and 601 kills. That's what I'm fucking talking about, right? 150 to 1 kill ratio if you include the injured, and absolutely heaps of upgrades. It's kind of obscene. 51 points of athleticism, 93 points of siege. Yeah, do some of that shit. Jamea Castle. There are other castles too that would have been the similar result at Veron Castle. We get a bunch of troops, so we have like a net positive for our army. It's Christmas when you get to defend a castle as a merc. Some guys probably think it's cheese, right? We're not going to do a ton of it. In the epic Valandian campaign, I've made rules, right? We're not entering cities that are under siege. We've lost a few battles because I insisted on fighting outside the city because that's one of the elements of the game that I think is broken. Now, they did fix auto-resolve, right? Auto-resolve is much, much weaker for the defenders, and I think that's a great change. I think that's definitively great because it's going to force more players to use tactics, or they'll lose, right? They're going to try to auto-resolve 400 against 1200, and they're going to be surprised when they get captured. When it's probably doable with tactics. I think that's a good thing. Let's see here. What do we do? Try to get some influence here. We've got all these high-end prisoners. I don't do this very often, but I just took some of the highest prisoners here. I'm sort of collecting and calculating what that siege was worth. Of course, it's impossible to calculate the loot. Maybe we got 150,000 in loot, but we got maybe 100 or 150,000 in influence too. Just an insane amount of influence. I don't remember seeing that Lord Hall. That was beautiful. I'll dump some of these troops into the garrison here. So we will, do mods in the future. We'll continue to explore mods, but I really like the small ones that make a subtle difference. And I think that's a perfect example. Again, we'll debut it at some point. I'll definitely give it props, and hopefully more of you guys find it and use it. Now, it only negatively affects you, right? I think there's no potential positive outcome, but I think it's a good one, right? You shouldn't just be able to smoke allied forces all day with no consequences. So, anyways, look for that in the future. The other thing that's difficult with the overhaul mods is there's lack of consensus. When I started doing Shokuho tactics and episodes and stuff like that, I was getting about 1/5 of the normal engagement rate of the other videos for the channel. And so it's one of those things, it's difficult if this is going to be a hobby job of mine to focus on something that generates so much less views, less coins in my wife and I's pocket, right? We're trying to turn this into a hobby job for us so that in retirement. We're not on a fixed income. Firefighters get a decent little pension. And this is one of those situations where I've got to remind myself that most people don't even get the P word, right? Pensions are rare. Now, I had 31 years of service for it, just like the military, virtually consecutive. Two people say 31 years. How the hell? I've worked since I was 18. My whole life, I've been basically a public servant in the military and as a firefighter. I was a firefighter in the military for much of my time as well. But we're on a fixed income, and it's not very much, right? I'm not going to go into numbers. Maybe it's more than some of you guys make now. Maybe it's much more. I don't know. But it's modest. We'll put it that way. And so it's nice to have a little bit of an income source. My wife's still going to tinker around with a few hobby jobs. Anyways, when I was getting into Shokuho, we did a playthrough, and I started experiencing bugs, and I was like, It started to crash. Then my character was permanently disorganized. Our party we couldn't catch anybody on the battleground, and then the episodes were getting 600 views when other episodes I'd make of Vanilla Bannerlord got 3,000, and I sort of slowed the traffic of it. Right? Nobody popped up and said, "Hey, I don't want to see any more Shokuho stuff." You guys tell me that by your likes, the views, how long you watch, right? Google and YouTube have an outstanding system that is effectively allows us to look at the numbers and analyze it. And I'm a math guy, right? So I can look at it and make a lot of sense of it. Well, we just entered God mode here, right? His throwing hit 280. We've got a little two-handed skill. We basically just explosion time, right? Almost 300 riding skill. We're gaining levels left and right. We've got more loot than the people who had the Lufthansa robbery, one of the largest robberies in American history. That's the one of the themes of the movie Goodfellas. That's a real thing. And the companions, it's pretty sick, right? Look at this shit. They're getting all kinds of attribute points. We're pushing their athleticism. People still ask a lot of times, why are you doing athleticism for archers? It helps them move, right? When we're kiting, the archer that has 60 athleticism, they get gunned down. They get caught and mauled by infantry. You want to have athleticism on archers. Not to mention, of course, sometimes they get those perks, right? Sometimes you can get those athletic perks at what is it, 180 and 210 or whatever. It's like 200 or so athleticism. You get those huge extra attribute points. Super difficult to get without that, right? That's just normally not a thing. This is a tough force, and they're boring right in. All right, let's keep doing this shit, right? We'll keep pushing the envelope here. Let's play with our hair on fire, right? You guys are probably digging the challenges. Every battle, it seems like we're outnumbered. 26 Vanguard Ferris. Okay, so this army, being able to look at their army, like, changes how I'm going to approach this battle. And there was about 60 cavalry, and about 50 of them were elite. So let's come up with some tactics for it. Now, I like this battlefield. I've used this battlefield before. Even this exact position, there's like a little bit of a peekaboo ridge here. Oftentimes what I will do with cavalry, especially when I have two divisions and we're outnumbered, is I will use a line of horses, dismount the cavalry, put those guys in a square so they have both the horse protection, a lot of the javelins, in other words, hit the horses instead of the guys, and then I will have a counter-charging division of cavalry to roar in and basically, when the enemy hits nothing but horse, our guys hit flesh because their guys just threw. It's kind of like timing a punch in martial arts, right? It's a micromanaging technique for sure. You're not just doing it casually. It's something I've developed, but it's very effective because Aserai Vanguard Ferris are fucking nasty. They're highly underrated. Again, these guys are getting mixed. There's archers and infantry in there. We got to keep separating that. We'll probably have to find some kind of infantryman at some point. We'll go to a tavern and pick up some guy. There we go. That's a lot better. We actually have some shock troops developing now. But those Vanguard Ferris, man, when they're moving fast and they throw javelins, it one-shots units. It'll one-shot a low-level, if you're low-level, level 12 or something like that with mediocre army, you're dead. And it'll kill Fiend Champs in one shot, right? So they're significantly nasty, and they're not done after that, right? It's not like they just leave the battlefield, they throw 3 or 4 javelins and maybe they get a couple hits. And then they pull out their sword and spear, and they're very decent units. I'm a huge fan of Vanguard Ferris. Of course, we love javelins on the channel. Everybody knows that. The water is nice here too. I could also just use this water, right? The enemy horses will move slower across the water, right? That's an option. I might even kite some of our infantry back here. We've got a crossbow division ready to light them up. That's definitely a good strategy you guys want to employ. Those crossbow, it's such high front end damage, right? It just does massive damage to especially cavalry charging right at them, right? The momentum system really favors archers in that situation, as long as they're not getting shot, right? So we'll put them 3 or 4 units deep there. And as that Vanguard Ferris charges, those guys are going to get fucking pounded. They've got 180 infantry and some archers, but that initial Vanguard Ferris threat is what I'm concerned about, right? They've got a handful of horse archers sort of skirmishing with us here. Don't want our archers shooting. Especially when horse archers are going the other way, hold fire. Those arrows don't do any damage, because again, it's momentum, right? So they're... Oh shit, I forget how accurate these fuckers are. It's incredible, man. They're on horse, I'm on horse, moving fast. I got a shield, and they smoked me twice for almost half my health in the blink of an eye. I didn't even get a javelin throw. Yeah, they made archers too strong. Even stronger. Well, you know, if you can't beat them, join them. Right? That's why I'm recommending on the channel an army like this, right? What is our army? 60% probably archers and ranged units. It works. And the bottom line is it works. I'm not thrilled about it. If it was up to me, archers would be very inaccurate. I think that's one of the things they could do to make archers more balanced. Instead, they made them more accurate. Sometimes you wonder what kind of good drugs they got in Turkey, where Tail Worlds is doing stuff. You know, they add features that maybe not a lot of people were looking forward to, and then the diplomacy is there, but it's pretty skin deep so far, right? You can just get peace at will as a vassal, or as a kingdom. It's strange, and then we get, you know, stealth and stuff like that. Sometimes you can get so ambitious with your game that you miss kind of what you're really good at. It's almost like the character development as well in Bannerlord. You don't want jack of all trades, right? I think a lot of us would prefer that Bannerlord was just an incredibly exquisite geopolitical combat character development game, and they skipped some of the other stuff a little bit, right? Worried a little bit less about the economy, worried a little bit less about things like stealth, and did, you know, a lot more combat balancing and improved AI. Now their infantry is coming up here into a death trap, right? We're going to be able to kite across with javelins going. Our little square there did a pretty good job of minimizing losses for our crossbow and some of our horse archers. They're still going though, right? These Vanguard Ferris, they're not all dead yet, right? But our accuracy's back. We're starting to blow them up, make their shields go flying. Oh shit, they're coming fast. Okay, move back. I think we can still get them back. In the water, right, the distance is hard to close. We've got this other division here on their flank. We can kite right out of the water here, right into the arms of our crossbow and archers just waiting for them. This division in the water can charge their flank if we want. I've got 12 different ways right now to destroy this force. We're throwing javelins, right? Those legionary are just firing javelins into the back of the enemy. Now we're in the water there, the infantry's in the water, but that's okay, right? The enemy's either forced to turn and fight, or they're going to get shot in the back. And we've got some crossbow holding that line here. This long archer line, it's a little bit sloppy. That's not really what I intended, but it's working. Because almost none of them are being attacked. And that infantry is completely surrounded now. It's bloody, but we're mauling this poor Aserai infantry that came over. They're routing, guys. We can't stop them. We're all gonna die. I fucking love the routing sounds. Then they get cut down. They're coming up. I can't believe they're coming up. I expected these guys to kite. Now they're kiting. Too late, boys. We were going to rip across the river and just destroy these guys. Instead, they ran towards us. Bad decision. They're too strong. Ooh. Just gets plowed. I love the sounds. Save us! Have some of this. And another Aserai force just mangled with ranged units. It's almost like the Battanian campaign, right? We do got the Battanian campaign that I played. Most of that is about 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago. Not too long after 1.3 came out. And the Aserai and the Battanians are pretty similar. Of course, I've played both extensively. You got the horse archers, right? Instead of Javelin, although with the Aserai, you got Javelin cavalry. You've got shock troops. You've got lots of skirmishers. Your archers are nasty. They're pretty similar. I would dare say most people who can play Battania can whip ass with the Aserai, right? You're just using those Jav Cav a little bit more aggressively. Your infantry's less specialized, right? You don't have to worry about the kind of goofy Oathsworn. A lot of people hate the Oathsworn. I don't know. They're not good units, but I don't. You can make any unit work, any armed unit. It'll work out. So this Oros guy is just roaming around down here. This is tasty, right? Like we're definitely going to have the probability of significant battles. I'm thinking if I should wrap this episode up. We do a little exit here. Let's just say we're going to continue. Right? We're going to wrap this episode up, but I'm going to continue playing here. So I appreciate you fellas for watching. Of course, if you want to see more, now's the time to subscribe. If you don't mind, hit that like button on the way out of here. And with all that said, you know how it goes, friends. I will see you next time. This action is just a matter of, finding the right kind of action, right? We want to have big battles. We could just chase down these small ones. Here we go. He's making an army. So that's a good sign, right? Maybe he'll attack our force here. We definitely got to handle these little ticks over here at Jamea Castle 621. I'm not going to sneak in for something like that. That would just bore you guys to death. So I think we'll take a chance, right? Especially if the garrison's on them. Let's go over there and fuck those boys up. There's 600 Aserai forces here. I basically consider Jamea Castle ours. We can't have a castle. We're a mercenary, but we took it. And these fuckers... Yeah, let's fight them in the open here. 170. There'll be about 100 forces from the city to help, so we'll have about 300-ish. And we got a pretty damn potent army, right? So let's do this shit. You guys want some action, and frankly, it's been a little while since we've had a good fight. So, Southern Empire is just ripping everything up. Like, between them and us, we are just smashing the Aserai. Yeah, all right, I like this. 422. We're significantly outnumbered, but man, do we have a potent force. We're mostly healed. We get some graphical shit going on. It's incredibly beautiful, but you do get little graphical. That was like a little mini stroke. TIA, we call those trans-ischemic attack. If you want to look shit like that up, it's basically like a very, very short-term stroke. Kind of thing that Mitch McConnell had when he was getting interviewed, and all of a sudden he just stands there for 20 seconds. That's probably a TIA. Brain injury. We call that usually just a blood vessel or something like that having some issues, some constriction, sometimes a tiny rupture. The big one, we call it a stroke, right? That's not good, a big one. All right, so this looks like a classic kill box situation, and I love that we have like 100 Scuzz militia just charging in crash test dummies, because that buys us time. We're going to be able to do a huge surrounding sea force here. We've got cavalry on this wing protecting us, because they do have a lot of horse archers and cavalry. Let's see if our accuracy is coming back. It's been kind of hit and miss this play session. I'm almost 3 hours in, and I swear it gets worse, then it gets better. We'll just chuck it in the middle of troops there. We can't miss there. All right, this looks beautiful. Look at how wide our formation is. The enemy's pouring right into the center, of course, because they're attacking that huge mass of troops. It's a good example of how to use your ally, right? Your ally is very happy to volunteer to die, right? These guys will pour themselves in. Son of a bitch. Someone just drilled me for 81 damage I took. Man, we got to get better armor or something. 81 damage. That, you know what that is? That's probably a Vanguard Ferris. I think I was talking about that a half hour ago. 1st, 8th. So I have the 1st and 8th, 2 infantry divisions, and a cav line playing defense over here. We'll just keep on kiting, right? We've got these guys totally in the center here. We're just spraying arrows into the side. We're not going to charge with our infantry. There's no reason to, right? Our allies volunteering. Their numbers are just cratering. That's the death spam. I would imagine less than 10 or 15 of our troops have died. It's mostly the allies. And it's a situation where they sally out, right? The garrison has sallied out here. God, our units are just gaining levels every other battle. Let's pull these cavalry back. We've got this archer division here. We can pull back into a bit of a cup ridge here. If we pull back there, the enemy archers can't shoot them, but we can shoot them. The 4th, 5th, and the 4th and 6th are over here spraying the enemy point blank range. They have no archer support because we've cut off their archers with cavalry, and they're firmly in the meat grinder here. You move this 3rd Corps up. We can start moving this infantry in too, because at some point or other, we're going to be able to sandwich these boys, throw some javelins into their side. I once ate a census taker with a nice Chianti and some fava beans. We're gonna eat in this battle for sure. Do a little Hannibal Lecter, the classic line. That's when you knew that movie was gonna get real. When he intimidated the shit out of Jodie Foster in the dungeon. That was such a fucking great movie. Never seen it before, you young guys. Tell your wife you got a nice romantic dinner. A nice romantic dinner, and tell her you got a rom-com that features Anthony Hopkins. He's got a great role. And you'll be sleeping on the couch that night. Don't know what I'm talking about. It's a great thriller, suspense, horror movie, crime movie. Very violent, very gory. Great movie, though. It's old now, I guess. I'm dating myself a little bit. I saw that shit in high school. Yeah, I think I was high school. Too dumb to go to college. All right. So another Aserai force here just pummeled into the dirt. We're looking for challenges at this stage, right? We're just plowing through everything. I wish we'd play like this when we stream. I'll tell you, you know, when I stream, I'm nervous. My hands I get like sweaty and shit like that. There's something different about making episodes where I'm just in my study. No pressure at all. Right? If we lose, we lose. There's something different about 100 people watching. You can like almost feel their eyes on the screen. I'll probably adapt to it eventually, but for sure, it's a different experience. It's hard to explain. And just upgrades galore. I don't want to take these prisoners. It'll weigh us down. We'll collect all this loot. Obviously, with the 1.3 patch, the loot is back to being absurd. We're just rich beyond belief here. And we're looking for challenges, right? At this stage, I think I would take on 7-800. Like, if 7-800 rolled up over the horizon here, we might try to recruit a few villagers. At this stage, we hardly have any villagers, right? We could pick up some more, but they're just upgrading left and right. You know, our little shield and shock villager approach is working beautifully, right? We're getting tons of upgrades by doing that. And we're still getting deserters, right? You can't get away from that fact. As a mercenary, your army is limited. Like 200-ish is about the high end, and that would probably be clan tier 5. We're still stuck at 168, but that's pretty good sized, and we're doing just fine here, being 30, 40 over. I'll just take all these guys. What are we, 41 over? I just don't think it matters, right? I continue to do sort of periodic tests where I'll look, and almost every time, all of the deserters are recruits, right? 16 recruits. Let's do another test here. We should get the deserter. It's every 24 hours. There's a little deserter check by the system, and I think it's literally like the moon. It's the exact same time of the day. So we'll see. Now we've got even more recruits and some more events that don't mean anything. We get a camel and devious and something. Doesn't really matter. The Empress is down here, right? Things are getting salty. We just had 12. Unfortunately, I didn't see how many. I'm almost certain every single deserter there was recruits. So again, I won't use the analogy, I promise. Like, you guys can hold me to it after this one. If you rob a bank and steal 100 grand and you lose half of it on the way to your getaway card, it's a huge win still. No, I don't want this guy to siege. No. Come fight us. God, they're just taking cities left and right. I don't think I've ever seen a kingdom sweep through another kingdom like this. Obviously, we're part of it, but the Southern Empire is just shoving the shit of the Aserai here. They're getting fucking floored. Ah, beautiful. This guy diverted. Now we're talking. Come get some, right? I wish there were more. I wish I could suck another couple hundred in. Let's see, there's 67 over there. I don't want, well, I was going to say, I don't want another deserter check. I guess we could get a few more troops here. Damn, he's going to the castle. I missed my opportunity there. Oh, well. We can just fight him outside the castle, right? We get an extra 10 or 15 recruits this way. The recruits are obviously highly marginal in a situation like this. But if we win by 7 troops, right, you can have epic close battles. If we have 11 guys standing, this might be the difference, right? So I still advocate this strategy. You got to be a little bit mindful of your speed, right? As you go over the maximum, your speed decreases, but not hugely. And it's not like armies of 400 that are faster than us can kill this force, right? We've got 17 recruits now. Get in there quick before another deserter check. I don't think the garrison is sallied out, so we'll have them. Oh, damn, they just did. Damn it. Oh, well. Hopefully we win, I guess. Oh, shit. This is a strong fucking force. Look at the power bar. 10 master archers, 21 heavy cavalry archers. All right, all right. They got some high-end troops here, so this is going to be interesting. They got a bunch of heavy infantry. All right. They got tons of cavalry. Vanguard Ferris. So maybe we stepped in it. I don't know. You play long enough, you feel like you can just handle anything. It's been like fucking a week since we've had a loss. I'm kind of running out of things to use our perk points to. This guy's just gotten uber powerful. I wish there was a timer where you could learn exactly how long your campaign is going on. Is there a queue I can hit, fellas? Can I hit a button and it'll, say your campaign is 6 hours and 58 minutes old? Or is there a console command? I don't mind going to the console command. We started to use that shit. Look at this on the right here. I like this potential. That little ridge there, we can use that. It's the same, almost the same landscape that we just fought, but it's a different kind of force, right? So maybe it'll be interesting. We've got a very powerful 1st Division. I mean, that's a sick division. We get our infantry guy in there. He can do some work. If I didn't mention that, we picked up an infantryman at a tavern. He's kind of ghetto, but we got some good armor on him, right? He'll do some work. We briefly had a crossbow in his hand. Just here, level up some crossbow. We got to see what they do. Sometimes I just start a battle because you don't know what the enemy's going to do. They might pull into a defensive position. Probably not. It does look like they're coming in hot. 344, 61 archers. Okay. They have huge cav wings. We're going to have a lot harder time fending off their cav wings this time. They're going to do major damage. 44 cav, right? That's definitely going to be a problem. Looks like the other one is circling behind. There's horse archers too. Aserai armies are very interesting to fight because they have way more levers to pull than most kingdoms, right? They're one of the most unique kingdoms in the game. Yeah, our javelin skills are doing just fine, I'd say. We're drilling people, and we're doing huge damage with this character now, right? He's in like the 280s for throwing. We got some Jareeds. He's ragdolling shit. I remember we did 1,000 damage once, and some guy was on Reddit. Cheat codes. It's like, shut the Never mind. We're supposed to be controlling our rage. It's not rage, it's more annoyance. It's like, come on, man, just let us help you get to there, and then you won't complain about seeing other people do it. We'll back some archers up here. We've got plenty of space to kite. I've got a nice ridge there for the 4th Division. It's classic tactics here. Now we're countering this cavalry. I've got infantry over there just ready to fire javelins. We were basically waiting for those guys. It's still going to be bloody death spam, right? They're dumping all kinds of javelins into our troops. And just when I need to throw accurate javelins, these guys are scorching our master archers. Fucking assholes. And it's a total different battle than that last fight. Gonna have to get a little bit more ticklish with our tactics. Their infantry's fucked. That's not what I'm concerned about. I'm concerned about their cavalry shelling us with javelins. And worse, it makes it much, much harder to kite. While you're being scorched with javelins and speared and shit like that, when you kite, you get speared the whole time, right? You're getting hit and hammered, and guys are getting ran over while they're trying to move to a position. It starts to remove some of the benefit of kiting. Now we do have the 5th and 6th again split up here, but that's okay, right? That's part of my forte. We're good at moving our army around on the battlefield. The enemy's right in the chute too between these two different divisions. It's a really bifurcated army here. Let's pull these guys back. If we could put some cavalry just sort of facing the enemy archers, they may just shoot at our cavalry instead of pushing forward. If that was a player, you would hope they would just rush all their archers as fast as they could to get into the action here. But it's not a player, right? It's the AI, and they're not likely to do stuff like that. I guess I better not try to punch the enemy. It's not going to work real well. We've got a decent little horse archer division right behind the enemy infantry. Might as well use it. Once they're out of ammo, we can use those guys to just sort of smash our way through some of these recruits. It's a mix. There's like palace guards standing next to recruits. It's still a huge vanguard. 290 fucking infantry. We've got a strong infantry division, though. They're holding. Let's start. I don't know why they're facing the wrong direction. Let's start moving in here. We've got to kill this this big infantry vanguard before the enemy starts moving up those archers. We've got them pretty badly crossfired now. 3 different directions are scorching them. Those crossbow on top of that hill are crossing the T, right? They can't miss. Those guys are doing major damage. The horse archers keep moving. We've got a little square that I'm just keeping out here in case the archers do charge. I was going to push it towards it. Move, boys, move. Get up this hill. Crossbow there. 5th and 6th, we want these guys in on the enemy's back. This is where you collapse on them. A lot of their units are badly wounded, but you want to do it with at least 2 or 3 units together. The 7th division coming up. Okay. This is probably going to work. It's going to be bloody. There's a lot of troops here. Our troops there will be coming downhill. The 1st division is pretty tough. The crossbow, there's nowhere really for them to go. We'll just push them out of the way. We want those arrows for later. Let's push in with everything we got here and see if we can't destroy this vanguard. God, that legionnaire is fighting like 5 guys. We're seriously outnumbered. I just took a blow. Let's move these archers in. Pour in there, boys. Come on. God, there's a lot of them. Every guy's got 12 fucking dudes zerging him. They still have like a vanguard holding tough in the middle here too. Fuck you guys. Die. Archers are in the fight now. There's a lord here with an axe. Love to kill that lord. Oh, shit. Okay, we got those cleared out. Watch out for the lord with an axe. Their archers are there. Yeah, quick push in here. Let's just keep them at bay. Archers are moving up. They've got a ridge. 1st and 4th. 61. Yeah, we're all right. We got this shit. Now we just got to cause some mayhem with our cavalry. They're trying to reposition. This is where you got to dodge these arrows, man. They're so fucking accurate. Fuck you, little Aserai archers. This guy's getting some riding speed. Man, he's ripping around the battlefield. I mean, I feel like I'm in hyperspeed. And this is not a water hutla either. There's faster horses than this. Wow. And that's one of the dangers. You move so fast, you you get clobbered by a... I want that archer. Where's she? Here we go. This is our gal, Terraloon the Swift. I'm going to smoke some guys here, hide behind the archers, and let's work on our archery skill here, right? This gal has been basically the star of the show, right? She's been leveling up like crazy. She gets 12 kills every battle. If she doesn't get 12, she gets 11, right? She's just smoking guys. It's beautiful. And again, I mentioned this a long time ago, probably definitely not this episode. 2 quivers, right? She doesn't have a shield. We use her correctly. We use her well. That means she's shooting deep into a battle, right? We still have 5 arrows. Let's make them count here. Their archers are closing. Oh, I was going to say, it looks close. Nah, they're just fighting to the end. This battle is fucking over. Might as well get a kill or 2 here to wrap this shit up. Fucking beautiful. She's gaining skill points and athleticism like crazy. I don't know how we'll do this. I got to stop playing. Maybe we'll, I don't know. Maybe it doesn't really matter. Another great victory for us. That was a great battle, too. That was close. That was tough. That was tight. Nip and tuck the whole way. And, and there's your summary. We whipped the bastards. And heaps more upgrades for this burgeoning Doomstack Aserai force. I'm probably going to call it a wrap here with this force. I only intended on doing a couple, 3 episodes. It all was spawned by a couple different guys. One of them was a Patreon member, messaged me and said, I can't get past like tier 2 in the mercenary stage. He said, I understand once your companions get going, but what do you do when your characters have 60, archery skill? How do you farm with them, to get them? So I think this is it, right? This is, it'll be 5 or 6 episodes, and we've played about 5 hours and taken really weak companions, and now they have 200 plus and many different skills, right? I think this is a pretty good demonstration of how tactics, using your companions well, putting 2 quivers on them, right? Doing the little things can really make a tremendous difference. It's been a lot of fun. It's kind of hard just to toss this campaign away. But at the same time, we're also just flattening the Aserai, right? We smash all the armies, and the Southern Empire armies take all the castles. It's been sort of a non-stop slaughter pen. But anyways, this is the kind of thing, perfect example of leaving feedback, especially you Patreon fellas. You want to see more of this, or you want to see exclusive episodes of this on the Patreon? You guys just got to let me know, right? I'm happy to play Bannerlord. If you guys can't tell, I dig playing Bannerlord. And of course, still trying to build this as a potential hobby job in retirement. I appreciate all of you fine folks that have watched to this stage. This might just be a long episode. We'll probably tie these together. If you want to see more, now's your time to subscribe. Right? Hit that like button on the way out. I appreciate it. And I will see you fine folks next time.